Hi, everybody. It's Justin Shaw again, and you're listening, or you're going to listen to our last podcast episode of 2025. And in a few seconds, you're going to hear a conversation between Mayor Simmons and I. And I just want to let you know that these podcasts were recorded earlier in the fall. So I want to say how much I appreciate Mayor Simmons and his family and all that they've done for the police department and all that they've done for the borough and all they've done for our community. And I very much look forward to partnering with Mayor Simulton in the year to come and the years to come to continue our public safety efforts. So from my family to yours, happy holidays. Have a safe and wonderful holiday season. Hi, welcome back, everybody. This is Justin Shaw, Chief of Police, the Indiana Borough Police Department, and you're joining me again for another episode of Safer Together, where we unpack how important relationships are to Indiana Borough's public safety and where we get to talk to great partners who we really get to understand how they fit into the public safety picture. And today we're all in for a real treat, and it's an honor for me to be here today with Indiana Borough Mayor Bill Simmons. Mayor Simmons, how are you today?
I'm great. How are you doing?
I'm great, thanks.
Good.
I can't think of a single person who would be better to talk to about all things public safety than you. And here's why for our audience. Because, Mayor, you are, one, a lifelong resident of Indiana Borough. Two, you are very closely connected with the Indiana Fire Association and Citizens Ambulance Service and the Indiana Borough Police Department. And so before we unpack each one of those things maybe a little bit more individually, would you like to introduce yourself to the audience and maybe give a brief history of your life of service here in Indiana?
Oh, sure. Well, first off, I joined the Indiana Fire Association back in the late 70s. And it was interesting times back then, and there was a lot of activity. That's when you get a lot of training and spend some more time on the fire ground. As time goes on, I realize it becomes a young man's sport. So therefore, I get to the point where I just do administrative work with the fire department now. So, but I've been there for over 40 years. With Citizens Ambulance Service, I've been on the board there for probably about 25 years. I never was a paramedic or anything along those lines, but worked a lot with the administrative side and helped with their retirement plan and that type of thing. But I really got involved with the police department back whenever I became the mayor, even though we always bumped into each other at different calls. To actually sit down and find out what goes on behind the scenes was the interesting time, and that's what's happened now that I am the mayor. Not that you learn that overnight either. I mean, that takes time, and I'm learning every day. And I see things, and I'll come in and say, well, what happens whenever this occurs or that occurs, and that type of thing. So that was my overall look at the three-legged stool as far as public safety.
Yeah, that's right. Police, fire, and EMS. And for our listening audience, you also have a background in finance as a profession, right? So that's that's one of the administrative benefits that you bring to all three organizations, and I think that's important because all first responders, all public safety providers have to be fiscally responsible and good stewards of borough funds. And you're an excellent representative and ally for the police department. I'm sure for fire and EMS in those regards. So just really appreciate your partnership, Mayor. And I've been privileged as Chief of Police to serve under three great mayors, and you're certainly high in that category. And I can't tell you enough about how much I appreciate your partnership as we navigate some of the non-traditional and traditional threats that we face here in Indiana. So I would ask you which one you like more, police, fire, EMS, but I really don't want my feelings hurt. So I'm not going to put you on the spot there. But
they're all three so important.
Yeah.
And one thing that you touched on is the fundraising side of, especially from the fire department's point of view, and that's real tricky. And we have a very giving community here in Indiana to support our fire department. And in my years that I worked at the S&T Bank in investment themselves, I was able to not only work with just Indiana Fire, but we ended up working with like 15 fire departments who needed that same kind of help to not only go out and raise the money, but then where do you invest it and what do you spend on this year and budgeting and that type of thing. So, yeah, that became real important. And we're bumping into the same thing with Citizens Ambulance now, where the ambulance service is really having a tough time surviving money-wise. And so the chief and I have been trying to help out there to get that back on track.
Yeah, well, the reality, and we talk about this all the time, but the reality is that the police department supports the fire department and the ambulance service, and the ambulance service supports the police department and the fire department. The fire department supports the ambulance service and the police department. If there is anything major that's occurring in Indiana Borough, you can expect to have an immediate response from police, fire, and EMS, and that's Indiana Borough Police, IFA, and Citizens Ambulance Service. And as much as our community relies on a police officer to intervene in a true threat situation, we rely on our partners at fire and EMS to save us in those same situations, because every police officer is willing to give their life for the community that they serve, and in Indiana Borough, that's certainly no different. That's the standard, but it certainly helps when we have trusted partners who we can count on to know that there's going to be an immediate response.
That's right.
And so knowing each other is important. And also, a great value that I feel from having you with us is that there's even more of a segue. There's even more of an opportunity for relationship, because during our conversations, and I know that the public's not privy to many of them except what they might see at a council meeting, but every day we're having a conversation on a public safety topic. Right. And that public safety topic doesn't necessarily have to be a strict law enforcement question or a strict, hey, someone broke the law, XYZ. It's often, hey, how do we keep the community safe? And as a matter of fact, as we tape this, and I guarantee you that there's an emergency effort going on right now. And I'll tell you this, that if it's a fire, there's going to be police, fire, and EMS there. If it's a serious crash, there's going to be police, fire, and EMS there. If there's a serious officer-involved activity, there's going to be police, fire, and EMS there.
That's right.
And so, that should make the community feel really good. And I want it to make our community feel really good, because we have it really good. It's an excellent, exceptional effort. And again, your leadership in that, and I'll speak specifically from the police department perspective, because I don't have a fire EMS perspective as much as I watch those heroes work. I've never been an EMS personally or a volunteer firefighter, but so from a police perspective, Mayor, in Indiana Borough, our mission, as you know, is to enhance the quality of life of our residents, and the police department focuses on providing a highest level of service of peace, safety, and comfort. And we can't do that without a focus on community policing. And so I just want to talk a little bit about our policing effort, and so that the public understands the way that we operate and what your leadership delivers to Indiana Borough. And I should say, before I even get started, the reason I'm talking to the mayor about this is because the mayor is my boss. And so
he wants a raise. I knew that was coming.
Yeah, I do, but no. But,
no, I'm just kidding, obviously.
It's serious. You are the public safety, the true chief executive of the police department, which makes our partnership all that as important as it could possibly be. And so I didn't say any of those things to give you those things aren't overinflated. You are a great leader. I'm delighted to have you at the police department. But as we unpack our police, our conversation about the police department, we are driving a community-led police service effort. And by community-led, what I mean is that, we're focused on strategies that can deliver not only safety to Indiana Borough, but also we're creating a situation or an atmosphere where we have a low crime atmosphere by building as many positive partnerships with our community as we possibly can. And we're working on things of culture and on having a positive culture. And we're also working on problem solving. Not every problem in Indiana Borough, Mayor, gets solved with a citation or a physical arrest. Right. And so we want to be cognizant of that. But all those things have to do with the concept of community policing, and we do that exceptionally well here. And I just appreciate the opportunity to serve the community in that way with you. And one of the things that we do, and I think it's important for our community to know, is that we're always out and about, or as often as we can be. So you've invited me to lunch more than a handful of times. So and I think that that's great. So maybe you could talk to the audience a little bit about what your mindset is on our lunches downtown.
I think that's an important thing, because the way some of the restaurants are set up, we can be sitting out on the sidewalk having lunch. And obviously 12 to 1 o'clock in downtown Indiana, there's a lot of activity. So there's always people stopping, and they have issues that they want to talk about. Or not, sometimes they even say thank you, but a lot of times it's concerns, and that's okay. And, to see, like, the police department being out and about is a big deal, because they can service. I'll give you an example. I had to call the ambulance for my wife to take her to the hospital because it was snowing like crazy and I couldn't get her into my car. So it wasn't like 2 minutes, the police showed up. And because they're coming, even though EMS is coming, they get there first. And, that gives you a feeling of, oh my goodness, people are coming, and, have their attention. And next thing I know, the policeman is shoveling my walk, because it's snowing, so that he can help get people, get the stretcher in and that type of thing.
Yeah.
And that's such a nice service that to be able to do that, and that's tying in with EMS. Then last year we had a fire up on School Street, and the police got there first. And one of the policemen was just checking to make sure everybody was out of the house, and he got around back and he stepped down in a window well and broke his leg. But, he was helping out. And again, it's just amazing how quickly that can happen. And of course, the worst call that I can remember in the last few years, of course, was the shooting out in Chevy Chase, and how our guys got out there very quickly to help, ease the pain there and take care of business. So those are things that I've observed that have come about very well. But getting back to being out there at lunchtime, it really is nice when people come up to you and say, boy, I saw what you did in that neighborhood, and that was such a great thing. And so that means a lot to all of us too. And we need to pass it along to our guys and gals to know that people appreciate.
Yeah, that's true. And the one thing, I appreciate all those things that you said, because we do work exceptionally well with each other, and we are immediately responsive. That's one thing that in Indiana you can count on, is an immediate response from your police, fire, and EMS. And one of the things I wish didn't happen to you, Mayor, and I want to be very candid with this, is that I know that you, by virtue of your position as mayor, and you, by virtue of your position as someone who's open and accessible to the public, and by virtue of the fact that you go to events, is that sometimes all you're hearing are the concerns. And I know that because in our conversations, I know almost daily someone is talking to you about a concern, and you should be the one, I think, from the community that can be accessible. But here's what I would ask our community, because I know that can be a really thankless position. So here's my request for our community. If you're going to deliver the mayor a concern, which certainly he is able to take, and he handles very seriously, I would love personally if you provided him with one positive thing that you feel about Indiana Borough before you talk to him about a concern that you have. Whether it's the comment about the beautiful downtown, or a comment about a service from the borough that you appreciated. But sometimes when we only hear the critique, or when everyone says, "Oh, hey, I had this on my mind," people tend to store up the negative, and we don't always lead with the positive. So I think that it's important. It's important to lead with a positive, and so I just asked that because I know. I mean, sometimes it becomes an issue in my life where, walking down the sidewalk, you'd almost rather avoid eye contact than make contact because you're just not sure what the flavor of the day is.
Yeah.
But that's no way to live, and that's no way to lead. And we do a really good job of leading with our eyes up and making eye contact. But it would be so much easier I know for me, and so I have to assume for you, if someone would lead with, "Hey, I want to tell you something good that happened," and then oh, by the way, there's also this. I think we'd feel better sometimes.
That's right. And we had a couple walking down Philadelphia Street who just moved to Indiana. And the what they said right away, I said, "What brings you to Indiana?" And they said, "We understand it's a nice, safe community to live in." And that always makes you feel good. And they say, "We have good schools here. You can go all the way through college and, right here in Indiana." And those are the kind of conversations we like. And then, of course, we have the the next guy will come along and said, "When are you going to pave 8th Street? I mean, doggone it, I'm getting tired of dodging." And that's okay. We get that too.
Yeah.
And so the good and the bad, but that's okay. It's not that it's bad. Yeah. It's just that it's a concern that people have, and sometimes their emotions get the best of them, and we try to help them out as best we can.
Well, we're in the people concerned business, that's for sure, at the police department. And like I said, and I sincerely mean this, we can't solve every problem that we have with a citation or an arrest. We need to be problem solvers. We need to be decision makers. We need to plug in with our partners. We need to build positive relationships. We need to do everything that we can do to avoid a negative event from happening, because once that negative event happens, there's already harm that's been done. There's already injury. There's already been something negative. And, Indiana's a dynamic community. Mm-hmm. And it's an honor for me to serve as chief in the county seat of Indiana, and to be here for downtown business and commerce, and to Philadelphia Street is everyone's main street. And so, keeping that safe, or as safe as possible, is a big job. And so, by virtue of the way that I feel, I know that you feel that you're the mayor for everyone, and that downtown Indiana is for everyone. And, so we welcome the concerns of everyone, and we're always going to be receptive to that. But you can expect for the Indiana Borough Police Department to problem solve, and we recognize clearly that just can't be in one lane. We have to explore non-traditional approaches, like this podcast, to be quite honest with you. I don't know that there's another chief that's had a conversation with the mayor about public safety in a podcast format. I hope you find value in it. To everyone that's listening, I think it's important that you know us. It's important that we know you. You don't have faceless and nameless police officers in Indiana. You don't have a faceless or nameless mayor. I can tell you that Mayor Simmons and I talk every day. Mm-hmm. You're in the office every day, Mayor. I think you're busier in retirement than you probably ever were working, and I find that too with my father, who's retired, and that I don't know what that bodes though for me in retirement, because I really don't want to be busier in retirement than I am working. But we'll see how that goes. So, is there anything else you'd like to say, Mayor?
Well, it's interesting with IUP being here. You have kids that come in. I call them kids because by my standards they are. From all different communities. And so that's a challenge, because they don't always know how to react whenever the police have to pull them over or whatever, for whatever reason. And a lot of time it can be in a negative way. But our guys do a real good, and gals, do a real nice job as far as saying, "Look, this is what you've done. What do you think?" And so it's not a back and forth kind of conversation. And I think that's important, because these people come from all different communities, and they don't know what to expect. But and we also think about people when they go to college here. We want to make sure that they enjoyed their time here, because maybe when they retire, they decide, what, I think I just might move back to Indiana because I liked it as a student. Yep. I think I'll like it in retirement.
Yeah, that's a great point. I mean, and again, that goes back to building relationships. And mm-hmm. we certainly consider the students at IUP to be residents of Indiana Borough, and we spend a lot of time talking. And I know that you and I are always talking with the university, whether it be with the public safety director or whether it be with a vice president, or those times we get to speak with Dr. Driscoll, and you're working hard on that front too. So mm-hmm. even when you're not in the police department office or in the administrative building, I know that you're out and about leading that public safety conversation everywhere, really. And again, it's about us being safer together, and all the people who are in our community who help the police department, the fire department, and EMS, and how we help each other, and how it's just not one person's responsibility. It's a team. And even if it were strictly our responsibility, and I would embrace that mindset if our public or someone in our public has that, but the strategy to keep everyone safe is to work together. And so again, I just want to highlight that you're a great ally in that your experience in the safety effort, both at fire and EMS, and now as mayor of Indiana Borough, and how we engage with our community there from a public safety perspective is really, really important. And so I just really appreciate it, Mayor. I appreciate you taking time to be with me here today. And there's a lot more conversations we can have on public safety, but this is the public safety picture from a person who has spent a life in the public safety field, and I'm privileged to have that conversation. So let's take a little break, and when we get back, we're going to do a couple fun things. So thank you.
Good. Thank you.
This is Chief Justin Shaw with the Indiana Borough Police Department. We're here for you morning, noon, and night. We take pride in being part of our community, from attending local events to engaging with students to caring for families. And remember, we're only a phone call away. Our team's mission is simple: your peace, safety, and comfort. The men and women of Indiana Borough Police Department and our first responding partners are committed to serving and protecting you anytime you need us. When you and your families are out in our community, know that we've got your back. Stay safe, Indiana.
Okay.
All right, folks, welcome back. Continuing our conversation with Mayor Simmons. Mayor, so we've talked about the public safety aspect. We've talked about the police mission. We've talked about community policing philosophy. We've talked about how police, fire, and EMS work together. I think that the final piece, and you touched on it, but I'd be remiss if I let you go from here without hitting on it, is that we all have to be good stewards of taxpayer funds. Mm-hmm. And also somehow to maintain the things that we have and to build upon the things that we have as our community increases, then so does our public safety effort, because the need increases. So I guess I would ask you, how do you have any comments from the financial aspect or from a community vitality point of view that could prop up public safety?
Well, I spent a number of years on Borough Council, so I know that we need to always be focusing on how we can attract businesses, make sure businesses stay strong here, and of course that helps our tax base to be able to afford the type of services that we've been talking about. And I think when you're coming up Oakland Avenue and you take a look at the Carriage House, you see something that's going to be an interesting project, because they are going to be torn. Both the Carriage House and Essex House will be torn down, and then the new housing is going to come in there, and we'll see exactly how they focus, because it could be a great place for senior living. And you tie in with IUP, and IUP maybe someday will provide opportunity for people of that age group to take a class. And that's always attractive to bring people back. Also with the development that's going on down in Homer City with the new power plant, that's going to really change this whole area too. So we want to be prepared for that. And I think our folks in zoning and community development are really focusing on that and doing a good job. So we're here to help you out.
Yeah, that's great. That's a great thought. The better atmosphere that we can build for our community, I think that also, I know for a fact, that also leads into our public safety effort, because we want to give people positive things to do, and we want to fill the time and the space with nice things, and we want to make sure that police, fire, and EMS are professional and professionally funded, and we have to do that through growth. So as the community grows, the public safety need grows, the public safety effort grows, and the nicer and the bigger and the more that we can do that, I think that everybody wins. So,
yes, for sure.
Yeah. Well, Mayor, I really appreciate your time. And now this is the point of the podcast where I'd like to give you and me an opportunity to make a shameless plug. And so here's just very briefly about it, is that oftentimes there are great partners in both of our lives that do really good things for us and for the community, and we could thank a million people, and we probably have a million people to thank. So if there's a million podcast episodes, we'll get to that. But I wanted to give you a chance just to name one person or one entity or one or two. I don't want to put you on the spot too much with it, but is there someone, something, some organization that you'd like to give a plug to today?
Well, I think whenever I was 18 years old, I was in a position where I had to get a job. And a fellow by the name of Ed Bratton really helped me out in that respect, and I worked with him for a number of years. And Ed was very strong in his community. As a matter of fact, he built the Giant Eagle that's out there today. Yep. From there, I was fortunate enough to get a job at the Rochester and Pittsburgh Coal Company, which was our largest employer, and I ended up being there for 25 years in the accounting department. and that was good for me with Dr. Potter and people along those lines. And then I moved on to S&T Bank and worked there, and had good relationships with the folks there too. So real happy to have a community where those types of opportunities were available to me, and we're hoping that things will develop, along those same lines down the road.
Yeah. Well, that's great. And so I'm going to use my plug and touch on something or expand on something that you and I have already talked about. So you invite me to lunch frequently, and it's our strategy, or your strategy, to sit outside and be present so that you and I can be accessible, so that our community can catch us as we walk on the side, or as they walk on the sidewalk. And it's an hour of time where you and I can discuss the safety picture in Indiana Borough, and at the same time really just talk to everyone in the community. So my shameless plug today, and I'm going to preface it a little bit because I feel inclined to do so. Indiana Borough has a lot of great restaurants, and if you haven't dined in Indiana Borough or downtown Indiana recently, please do, because they're fantastic places, all of them. But my plug is for the Coney Island, because we seem to gravitate to the Coney Island when we're going to sit outside on the sidewalk. It has excellent food. It gives us an opportunity to be out there with everybody. And so to the ownership of the Coney Island and the friendly staff that always waits on us there, that's my shameless plug. Very much appreciated.
It's interesting you bring that up, because then Tim McQuaid will come and sit with us for a while. And one time he said, "When are you guys going to pave this alley next to my restaurant?" And we did. We got it paved. So this year he was able to have a little cornhole deal, and he had a band out there and everything. So he's utilizing it, and couldn't have done that before. So it was a nice collaborative effort there.
Yeah. And all because we were accessible. Maybe.
That's right.
I don't know whether that's sometimes a good thing or a bad thing. Again, and
out.
a concert in the alley or a paved sidewalk is not my purview as chief. But I will tell you this: that every enhancement that we make to Indiana Borough keeps people safer, and so that is, I think, in the wheelhouse of the chief of police. Right. So, Mayor, let's wrap things up. I really want to do something a little outside the box, and so I have a prize wheel of sorts. Except we're not going to win any prizes. What we're going to do is it's more of a question wheel. I am going to ask that you spin it. It's going to land on one of I think there's 10 questions. I'm going to read the question to you, and I'd just love for your off-the-cuff answer to the community. And maybe I'll know the answer, or an answer because of all of our conversations. But really, I just want to give our community an opportunity to know you and I a little differently than maybe they would if they're dealing with a public safety emergency or are visiting us under a negative circumstance. So, okay?
Yep.
All right. So here is the wheel, Mayor. I'll just let you spin it, and I'll read you whatever question it lands on.
Ready?
Yep. Okay, everybody. Mayor, what is a book that has significantly impacted you?
That's interesting, because the book that I just finished is called Life in the Fourth Quarter. And actually, it just hits me right between the eyes. I always say that, but due to my age, I'm on the back nine. But this is pretty much the same thing, with the fourth quarter saying how you should be looking at things differently than you were as you were coming up through, different times of working and that type of thing. And how instead of, it's not that you quit being a leader, but you also take on the role of a support person based on the fact that these people that are the younger folks coming along need that kind of support. As I mentioned, like whenever I had a good relationship with Ed Bratton when he was an older guy, I think that's the way and so, Life in the Fourth Quarter, I think, is pretty much the last book I read.
Well, I'll tell you, you're doing a good job as a community supporter and a mentor. So I appreciate that, and I know that you're living it out. So because you were brave enough to do that, I'm going to be brave enough to do that. So let's see. Okay. Oh, well, this is an easy one. It says, what did you want to be when you were younger? So I don't know that this is going to surprise anybody, but my 6th grade yearbook from Horseman Elementary School, under career, not only does it say police officer, it says Indiana Borough Police Officer, because ever since I was old enough to understand what my father did for a career, I wanted to follow in his footsteps. So I have the proof of it in 6th grade, and here I am today, living out a dream, which sometimes doesn't necessarily feel like a dream, but many times it is a fulfillment of a childhood dream. So,
can I answer that question?
Oh, 100%.
I played in a band for over 30 years. Used to play for weddings and different things, and so I wanted to be a rock star. But it was hard to get off Philadelphia Street, to that next level. But at any rate, it was always a good outlet for me to be able to play on Friday and Saturday nights uptown at Culpeper's and Coney Island, and the Brown Hotel, and places like that, and of course Holiday Inn, and a lot of weddings also. So I just wanted to be a rock star. It just didn't work out.
Well, listen, you touched on weddings. I can't believe I didn't say this, but so one of the roles of being the mayor is that you have an opportunity to officiate weddings.
Yeah.
And mayor, I have to be honest with you, for the volume of times where you've been heading out to a wedding has been pretty amazing. So just how is that experience for you? That has to be something new as mayor. I mean,
it is fun. I mean, I was at a wedding last night. I took a marriage ceremony in Howellwood, for goodness sakes. I lived here all my life, and I'd never been to Howellwood before. I guess I should tell you that was my 87th wedding that I've done in the last 3 years.
Boy, I knew you were busy, but it's just that's something I don't think people would understand. But it's a testament to you, because people want you to be involved in the what is the most important moment in most people's lives. And I don't know that I've seen you officiate a wedding, but I'm certain that when you have that it's been a good thing.
Well, it's a different time. People. Weddings can be very expensive, so a lot of times this is one way of doing it and not have that expense. People aren't maybe as tied into churches today than they were in the past. Mm-hmm. You never know exactly why folks take that way of doing it, but I'm always glad to help out that way.
All right.
For sure.
All right. Well, friends, I'm Justin Shaw. This is Mayor Bill Simmons, and we're safer together. And today's episode is just another opportunity for us to demonstrate that and to show how much we truly do care about our community. So please like us, thumbs up on whatever platform you're watching this. We're here for you. This is a public safety tool. I believe it's significant in hopefully what is translating to be a positive way. I appreciate your time, and until next time, we're always safer together.